Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, girls.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
We are fine. How are you, sir?
In our earlier videos, I'm fine, thank you. In our earlier videos, we learned about World War One and World War Two. After that, there was a chapter called Liberation Movement in Colonies, and specifically we learn about which countries?
China.
China and
Nigeria.
British.
So, after China and Nigeria, today we'll learn about India. What happened in India after or during the war, and specifically Second World War. Right? These are the wars, as I said earlier, change the face of the world forever. So, this chapter, I think this is 14th chapter of your chapter, and this is National Movement in India, Partition, Independence. Right? Specifically last 10 years before India got independence, we learned. Okay? And as you see, this is a map of subcontinent, specifically India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, and it's a pretty fair and good map drawn by, thank you Afra and Husna for this map. Okay, we learn about national movement, and these are the topics. And to begin with, should the war be supported by Indians 1939-42? What it means? Can anybody help me understand this? Yeah. When World War II started, there were two blocks that were fighting in the war. One was no, I'm talking about Allied powers and Axis powers. So Allied powers were led by Britishers and French. So Britishers were our masters in India. They were ruling. So they needed Indian support in the war, right? So they asked for support of Indian leaders like Gandhiji and Nehru and other Congress leaders and Muslim League. These were, and Hindu Mahasabha. These were the three main parties, and Congress was the biggest among them. So they wanted Indian support, right? So they sought India's help, and they sent a group of ministers led by Sir Stanford Crisp to help talks with Indian leaders about seeking their help. And now Indians were of two opinions, whether we should support the war against Hitler and Axis powers in the war or not. So some Indians raised the question that what we will get if we support the war, right? So there were two opinions, and largely Congress party was of the view that if we support Britishers in this war, Britishers should grant us freedom, or at least they should promise that we should Britishers should make promise that they will give independence after the war. That was, I think, a fair demand, but Britishers were not ready for it, because giving India, they thought that India was the crown and the jewel of British jewel in the crown of British Empire. So that was not easy for them. In Britain also there were two parties mainly, and at the time Churchill was the Prime Minister, and Britishers in Britishers there were two parties, Conservative Party and Labour Party. Labour Party was sympathetic towards India's demand that yes, Indians should get independent because we had enough of them and now we should leave India. But Conservative Party, which was ruling, was not ready for it. So British government sent a delegation led by Sir Crisp, and they had talks, and those talks failed. Why? Because Congress party did not support Britishers in the war without any promise. They wanted a promise and they were not ready for it finally. So now Britishers thought that we will teach them a lesson, because they thought that they were in crisis and they needed their help, and Congress did not help them. So anyhow they had to fight the war, and they fought the war, and finally they won the war without Congress party support. But meanwhile, because of the Congress refusal to help Britishers, many things changed because of the British policies, and now they uh, pursued a very infamous policy in India that led to India's partition. What is that policy?
Divide and rule.
Very good. Divide and rule policy. For that they created a rift between Indians, especially Hindus and Muslims, and now they deliberately suppress Congress party and its leaders, and they encourage Muslim League and its leaders. Who was the leader of Muslim League?
Muhammad Ali Jinnah.
Muhammad Ali Jinnah, right? So as a result, what happened in 1937, there were elections in provincial assemblies in India, and in those elections, Muslim League had very limited support, maybe 2 or 3% of total voters in Muslim constituencies. That is, at that time we had separate electorates, means there were some specific constituencies for only Muslims, where only Muslims could vote. So they had very limited seat. 2-3% of votes went to Muslim League in 1937 provincial elections. But things changed because of this British policy of divide and rule. They created an atmosphere, of hatred between Hindus and Muslims. As a result, Muslim League grew in strength, and Congress leaders were not, free, or they were not able to counter this narrative of Britishers that Muslim League is the, representative of Muslims, and Congress is a Hindu party, because most Congress leaders were in jail that time, and Muslim League was very free, free to do whatever it wants. So it worked among masses, Muslim masses, and it grew in strength, right? So finally, war ended. Now we'll come to, the second topic: who represent the people of the country. Before that, Muslim League was considered a party of only elite Muslims, zamindars. It was not a party of masses, right? So now there was a question that who represent people of the country. Now Britishers, in principle, decided that we should end our colonies, we should liberate those countries we were occupying for many years. So we learned that what happened in China and Nigeria, and now Britishers after World War I left not just from India but many other countries. Many other countries got liberated. India also got liberation, but before that many ugly things happened. And what happened, we need to know that. So now there was a question that who represents people of the country. So Britishers again sent cabinet mission led by Sir Cripps to talk about the future of India. What will? Yeah. Who will support the? Yeah. Who will support the people of? Who represent people of India? So Muslim League started a narrative that we are a Muslim party and we represent Muslims, and Congress is a Hindu party, and Congress does not have the right to represent Muslims. So we represent. Britishers should talk to us about the future of Muslims. But Congress party was of the opinion that no, we represent not just Hindus but all Indians. We are the biggest party, and there was another party at that time called Hindu Mahasabha and RSS. They were same, and their idea was that India is for Hindus. India is for Hindus, and we should work for to end the discrimination and untouchability in Hindu societies. So it was a reform movement in Hindu society, and they believe that India is for Hindus and Muslims are outsiders, invaders. Their forefathers came from some other countries. So real Indians. Now they wanted that power should be handed over to Hindus, right? These were the three opinions. During that time, somebody created what is that? Somebody created a theory called bi-nation theory that said that Hindus and Muslims are two different nations and they cannot live separate. So they need a separate nation, and Muslim League supported this theory, or this theory is known because of Muslim League, because Muslim League pursued it, and this theory was the base of Pakistan, creation of Pakistan, right? So, so now Pakistan resolution. During that tense atmosphere in 1940, in the city of Lahore, which is now in Pakistan, to be specific, in the Punjab province of Pakistan, they passed a resolution in 1940. You understand resolution?
Change.
No, I'm not talking about revolution. Resolution.
The idea of Pakistan.
No. Resolution is something you want to do, and you all are agreeing to it, and you are promising that you will work to achieve that. That is like New Year resolution, right? I will lose weight this year. I'll end my whatever. So, what was the Pakistan resolution? That the Muslim majority states of India should have, some separate identity, some separate, autonomy. And so, which were the Muslim majority areas here in joint Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh that time? It was a united India. Muslim majority provinces were Bengal here, Punjab here, and northwest frontier province here, which is near Afghanistan, and Sindh, right? These were the 5 Muslim majority provinces. So that resolution of 1940 says that in the Muslim majority provinces we should have separate Muslim rule, right? And this idea, there is a discussion about who gave this idea of Muslim state, separate Muslim state, and one theory is that Allama Iqbal first gave this idea. Allama Iqbal died much before this Pakistan resolution was passed. He died in 1938, and this resolution was passed in 1940. In that Pakistan resolution, there was no word about Pakistan. They just said that wherever Muslims are in majority, these areas and these areas, we should have a separate Muslim rule. No mention of Pakistan. So then where from this Pakistan word came? One student was there, in Cambridge University, one student was there. His name was Chaudhry Rahmat Ali. Much before this happened in 30s, he printed pamphlets in in London, and he published and he distributed among students, and he coined for the first time the word Pakistan. Pakistan, the word Pakistan came from Punjab, Afghanistan, Kashmir, Sindh, Balochistan. So the word came from this, and Pakistan literally means what? Pure land. Pakistan, right? So Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, when he suggested this name and this idea of separate country, everybody laughed at him. Nobody took him seriously. There is a saying in Urdu, it's a dream of a madman. Saying is, Diwani ki badana, right? So it's a Diwani ki bad, and it's a madman's dream. Nobody took him seriously. But what happened during the Second World War in India, and how Britishers dealt with the Congress refusal to support them, and how they encouraged Muslim League, that changed everything in Pakistan, became a hot topic, a need or a debate for Pakistan's, the need for a Muslim nation called Pakistan, that debate grew. So, Pakistan resolution was passed in 1948, and that resolution became a base for Pakistan, the country which was to be formed just after 7 years. In 1947 they passed this resolution, and in 1947 Pakistan became a reality. Right? Okay, anything you are missing? Okay. So And ironically, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, after that, when Britishers pursued this divide and rule policy, and because of that atmosphere of hatred, Muslim League grew in strength. So now again in 1946, I think, elections were held for provincial assemblies. Now Muslim League won majority of Muslim seats. Understand? Earlier only 2-3%, and now 70, 80, 90% Muslim supported Muslim League. And now Muslim League claim that we are the sole spokesperson for Muslims. We are the only one who represents Muslims. Who said this? Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Muslim League. Right. So this is about Pakistan resolution. And ironically, you know, the Pakistan movement was not carried out here or here mostly. It was here in United Province. That is, you can say present day UP, Bihar, etc. So here Pakistan movement was very popular. But Pakistan was made somewhere else. Here and here. In Bengal also it was there, but it was mostly here in these parts. And here, before this 1946 thing happened, very few people knew about Muslim League. It was not popular here and here. It was very popular in these areas, but it became a. It's like नैरंगिए सियासत दौरान तो देखिए मंजिल उन्हें मिली जो शरीके सफर न थे. Understand the meaning of it? They were not interested in Pakistan, but they became Pakistan. Right? They wanted to create Pakistan, but they remained Indian largely. Right? Those who talk. So this is about Pakistan resolution. Now who will make the British quit India? Right? When that debate was going on whether to support Britishers in the war or not, in Congress party, there was a very different view or opinion given by another very famous leader. Who was he? Any idea? Subhash Chandra Bose. Very good. Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose gave an idea that we should not support Britishers in this war, and not just that, we should take the support of Germany and Japan and fight against Britishers and liberate India. They will not go just like that. We have to kick them out. And for that, we are not capable. This is the right time. They are fighting a war with Germany and Japan. We should take the support of Germany and Japan and fight with them. And but Congress party was not with him mostly, especially Gandhiji, because Gandhiji was a non-violent person. He believed in peace.
He liked Shanti.
Yeah, he liked Shanti. So as a result, like that's why he did not support this idea of Bose. But Bose was very committed towards his ideas, and he said, no. In that case, I don't want to be with Congress party. I respect you, Gandhiji, but I'm not with you in this, right? So he left Congress and he went to his residence in Calcutta, in Bengal. There he deceived British police, and from Calcutta, somewhere here, he went to Afghanistan. He changed his dress and he deceived them and went to Afghanistan. From Afghanistan he went to Russia. That time Russia was not involved in the war because Russians had a pact with Germany. So from Russia he went to Germany and he met Hitler. He sought the help of Germany and Japan in the war, and they agreed to it because that was in their favor also. Somebody who is ready to fight against their enemies, so definitely they were ready to support him. So they supported him, and where from Subhash Chandra Bose created an army.
Germany.
Yeah, in Germany and Japan and Malaysia and other areas. Those soldiers who were fighting with British side, and they were captured by the Axis powers, right? And Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose inspired them to fight for India, and many agreed, and it was a good option for them, right? because they were arrested soldiers. Instead of punishment or something, they will join another army and fight, and that was a good idea also, and their intention was very good to kick Britishers out of India. Subhash Chandra Bose, and he named this army as
INA, Indian National Army.
In Urdu, Azad Hind Fauj. It was more common as Azad Hind Fauj during that time, right? So they declared that India is separate and we don't need Britishers, and they started fighting. So they started another front from this side. With the help of Japan, they attacked India here and fought against Britishers, and the war continued. So why Gandhiji and others were against Subhash Chandra Bose's idea of fighting Britishers with the help of one is non-violence, the other Hitler was not a saint. Hitler also carrying great atrocities. He was occupying lands. He was killing innocent people. His ideology was based on hatred, fascism, Nazism. It's all about that. So Hitler was not a good man. He was a monster kind of. And Gandhiji and others said that, look, he's not a good man and you're taking his help for a good cause. To free India is a good cause, and for that you're taking the help of a monster. So Gandhiji was a person. There were two opinions in India at that time. So finally, who will make the British quit India? During that time, Gandhiji started Quit India movement in 1942, 9th August 1942, Quit India movement, and many other. Dandi March was there. Yeah, but for that Gandhiji was arrested, Nehru was arrested, other Congress leaders were arrested, but Jinnah never got arrested. Right? So now, what happened in World War? Who won?
Allied power.
British.
Huh?
Britishers and France.
Two, yeah, we're talking about two. We are in 40s. So
USA, USSR.
Allied powers led by Britishers and France, they won the war. What happened after that? They started talking with colonies about freeing them, right? So during that process, in the year 1946, Britishers started a purge against INS soldiers, Indian National Army soldiers who were captured here in this area while fighting. During that time, before that, what happened to Subhash Chandra Bose?
He disappeared.
He suddenly disappeared. It is said that he died in a plane crash, but nobody could find his body. So we don't know for sure what happened to Subhash Chandra Bose, right? So now many INA soldiers were arrested, right? Many INA soldiers were arrested, and in INA many soldiers were Muslims. During that tense atmosphere of Hindu-Muslim hatred, this happened that court-martial happened of many INS soldiers. They trialed them in military courts and gave them strong punishments like death sentence, life imprisonment. So sympathy grew for them in Indian masses. Now people start forget about Hindu-Muslim tension, hatred, riots. Now they were sympathetic towards those INS soldiers. Look, they fought for India. They like many were Muslims, so that did not deter Indians from supporting them or having some sympathy for INS soldiers. So if a movement started in India that time, people came on streets, demanded that INS soldiers be free, and many strikes happened. First, so one strike led to another. So they were mainly protesting against the trials of INS soldiers. But that protest was not confined just about this. They protested against price rise. They protested against low wages. They protested against kingdoms. Local kingdoms were there. Like in Hyderabad, there was a protest against Nizam by CPI. That is called as armed struggle against Nizam. So similar protests were there in Travancore, Kerala, and in Indian Navy also there was a revolt. They all protested and they gave a signal that Hindus, Muslims, everyone in India is united. So in that, their protest leader was MS Khan, and they carried the flags of a crescent that represents Muslims. They carried the flags of tricolor, Indian tricolor that represents Congress party at the time. So there was a huge protest everywhere in India, and that is called as popular upsurge. So but unfortunately that feeling of oneness between Indians was confined for a limited period. Again, after some time, that Hindu-Muslim thing started. Why? Because there was talks going on between Indians and Britishers about the future of the country. So as I said, again Sir Cripps came, and they had held talks with Indians. So now Congress party, it was in principle against the division of the country, but Muslim League wanted a separate country for them called Pakistan. And when they came, Britishers, they presented an idea, an alternative option. It's there? Okay. So they presented an idea that what was the alternate? There's no need for Indians to have partition. Instead, they can have a loose confederation where Muslim states will have Muslim rule, but country will be one. Country will be one, but that will be a confederation. So that was a good idea, and initially everybody agreed to it. But later it became very complicated how to implement that, and later everybody distracted from that proposal of Britishers. And Britishers, they thought that now it's not possible to keep India intact. It became very clear that Pakistan will be a reality. So they also agreed to it. Muslim League wanted partition. Congress did not want partition, but it had to accept. Why? Because during that talks, one thing happened that changed everything. That is, Muslim League leader Muhammad Ali Jinnah, when talks failed between Indians and Britishers, he gave a call of direct action. In 1946, what was direct action? He actually said to people that, look, talks have failed. Now you have to come and take things into your hand and take action by yourself. So people came on streets at many places, especially Calcutta. There were huge communal riots, thousands of people got killed. After those riots, it became clear to Congress party leaders that it's very difficult to maintain India as one. So partition became imperative. It became must, right? So they agreed to it after this, and now Pakistan became a reality. But it was a shock for many people. So everybody wanted India's independence, but they did not want India to be liberated in this fashion. Understand? All bloodshed, lakhs of people got killed, crores of people were migrated, they lost their homes, they rendered homeless, crores of people. And that time, that was the largest mass migration of people. Maybe after some time it changed during Syria war, or I don't know exact figure, but that time it was the largest mass migration of people from one place to other. Crores of people from this side of the border went to this side, and crores of people came from this side to this side. Right? Understand? So that was migration. So look, some people who were living here, suddenly they were told that, look, you are a Hindu or Sikh and you cannot live here, your life is in danger. So he had to leave his fields and his house and businesses and all, and they went to here. And in India, many Muslims were told that they cannot live here, there is a threat to their lives, and they cannot run their businesses and fields here peacefully, so they migrated to here. It was a great human tragedy. There are many movies also about that.
Hey Ram.
Many movies and many great writers wrote very impressive stories about that. Mantu and
Train to Pakistan.
Premchand and yeah, Hera was a very latest one. Train to Pakistan, written by Khushwant Singh. It was a very great tragedy, right? Even now, recently I watched a movie on Netflix called Partition. It is a series called Partition. If you have Netflix, you can see that. So this happened. Partition and migration, right? So after that, some people thought that Gandhiji was very lenient towards Muslims and for the demand of Pakistan, and this thought was there in Hindu Mahasabha. So there was a member of Hindu Mahasabha called Nathuram Godse. So he killed Gandhiji
Gandhiji.
on
30 January 1947.
January 1948. 2 days before that, there was an attempt to kill Gandhiji on 28 January 1948, and Gandhiji had an idea that I will be killed. So just 2 days before his death, he gave a statement saying that if somebody wants to kill me, I'm ready to die. I will not have hatred towards him. Something like that. Yeah, happily I will die. But why they were, some people were angry because they thought that Gandhiji is responsible for partition. He is very lenient towards Muslims' demand. And Gandhiji at that time, after partition, you know what he said? We did not want Pakistan, but Pakistan is a reality now. And now India and Pakistan should live like brothers. And I will go to Pakistan and talk with my brother Jinnah so that both countries can live together in harmony with peace. So that angered many people, Hindus, and they wanted to kill, and they killed Gandhiji, right? Okay, before that I wanted to put some light on this angle also. When Muslim League was running a campaign for Pakistan, when they went to people thought that different kind of people, for example, students thought that, oh, it's a good idea. Hindus will not be there in our competition. I will get seat. In today's term, talking about today's term, I will get neat seat. I will become a doctor or something, whatever. So businessmen said that, oh, these Hindu businessmen are very sharp. We are very far behind them. If they are not there, we will flourish. We will have our own businesses. Like that in every sector, people thought that there will not be any competition from Hindus
Muslims.
and we will have our own businesses, right? So they killed Gandhiji in 1948, just a year after independence. Before that, when riots were there during India's independence, when everybody was celebrating India's independence, Gandhiji was not there in Delhi celebrating India's independence. Where was he? Noakhali in Bengal. Why?
Because most of the Muslims were killed there.
Yeah, many Muslims were being killed, and he wanted to stop those communal riots. So he went there and he had a fast, Maran Brat,
Of 50 days.
right?
50 days.
Many days, I don't know specifically, but people came and promised to Gandhiji that Babu will not fight again.
Oh.
So he broke his fast and he went to Delhi. And he, there was a routine for Gandhiji to have all religious prayer meetings. During that meeting only he was killed. So Gandhiji was in Noakhali, and when everybody was celebrating Independence Day, he was very sad because of the bloodshed, as that share is there. What was that? Anybody can recite the share? ये दाग दाग उजाला, ये शब गुज़ीदा सहर, वो इंतजार था जिसका, ये वो सहर तो नहीं. I think you understand.
Yes, sir, yes.
Huh? Right.
Yes.
So that was the very stained dawn in our history, and that was not the kind of independence we wanted. right? Bloodshed, with bloodshed and all. So after that partition, Gandhiji was, after Gandhiji's assassination, what happened? The killer shot Gandhiji and fled, and he was captured in Bombay, I think. Yeah, he was captured in Bombay, and after that, Hindu Mahasabha, RSS, they felt that because of the act of killing of Gandhiji, they lost people's support. Right? Because Gandhiji was father of the nation, many people respected him. Even now they respect many people.
Bapu.
Yes, Bapu, father of the nation, and he killed them. As a result, many people lost their interest in that party and its activities, and for that movement, Hindu Mahasabha, withdrew from its political ambition, and they said, now we will work for strengthening our party and we'll work for some reforms in our society. So, actually, a member of Hindu Mahasabha, he became a reason for the decline of Hindu Mahasabha for that particular period. Now again in 2023 there is a debate. Some people are praising Nathuram Godse, and you will be surprised to know that there was a movie also about Nathuram Godse a few months ago. Something like that. So one or two movies are there where they presented the thought or the idea of Nathuram Godse about why he killed Gandhi. So what I am trying to say is times have changed. There is a segment of people now who think that what Godse did was okay. Yeah, there is a debate. We can have a debate about this on any other day. So after that, the last topic of this lecture is integration of states. What is integration? Uniting. So, the map we see today, this was not the map when Britishers were there in India. How India looked at that time, there was a province here called Madras Presidency, and here there was a province called Bombay Presidency. Here there was a province called Calcutta Presidency. Here there was a united province. Jammu and Kashmir was separate, an independent state. Hyderabad state was there, which was separate. Travancore was there, separate. Junagadh was here, separate. Right? Like that, some 550 states were there, where kings and queens and princes ruled. 550 princely states were there in this place. It's a big number, just imagine. And they were friends of Britishers mostly. Britishers allowed them to have some kind of autonomy or independence. So now when Britishers left, Indian government led by Jawaharlal Nehru wanted all states to join India. Right? So for that, I will say they adopted this carrot and stick policy. You understand carrot and stick policy? Like
Love or force?
Yeah, love or force. Very good. Right? Love or force. What they said? Okay, look, you cannot live separate. Now Britishers, your mentors, friends are gone. Your masters are gone. Now we are the masters. So join us. Join us. Or if you don't join, we will send our army and they will force you to join us. So many states, roughly above 500 states, agreed and they joined Indian Union. If you see what is India, India is a union of states. Right? India is a
Union of States.
many states joined together and formed one country called India. Right? So all states joined except 3 states. Which were they?
Hyderabad, Junagadh and Kashmir.
Hyderabad, Junagadh and Kashmir. So, but in 1947, 15th August till 15th August, all states joined except these 3. But these 3 states of Hyderabad, Junagadh and Kashmir also joined later. In next 1.5-2 years, they also joined. how they joined, their circumstances were different. Are you interested in learning that, or some other time we'll learn? What is the time?
5 minutes.
Okay. So what happened? In Junagadh? Majority people were Hindus, and Raja or king was a Muslim. In Hyderabad also majority people were Hindus and king was Muslim, Nizam. In Kashmir, majority people were Muslim and Raja was a Hindu. So in different circumstances they joined India. I think in later chapters we'll learn about that. When these states, small states joined India, Indian government promised them privy purse. What is privy purse? Yes, some money given to those kings and princes and queens
Every
for
year.
their lavish lives to live, and that was, you can say that was a carrot, right? That was a carrot. I'll give you money.
Carrot and stick.
Carrot. And what was the stick? What they did with Hyderabad was stick. What they did, yeah, right? So, privy purse, ironically, privy purse was cancelled later
By Indira
by Indira Gandhi in the year 1971. Right? She will learn about in which circumstances she ended the privy purse. We'll learn more about that in our next chapter. So, when all small states joined Indian Union, right? What happened? They recreated states for administrative purposes, and this process continued till 1956. Realignment of the areas. For example, looking at the Hyderabad, in Hyderabad there were three kinds of people: Telugu speaking, Kannada speaking, Marathi speaking. Right? So the Kannada speaking areas of Hyderabad state plus Kannada speaking areas of Karnataka, Madras state, they together join Karnataka, form Karnataka. Marathi areas of Hyderabad state and Marathi areas of Bombay residency, they together called as Maharashtra. Similarly, Telugu areas of Hyderabad state plus Telugu areas of Madras state became Andhra Pradesh. This we'll learn about the formation of Andhra Pradesh and all in our later chapters. So what I'm trying to say is, after integration of states, they realigned the states. Understand? They realigned the states after India's independence. Okay, this is about integration of states. Any doubt? I would love to have any question about it. Any question about this? No? Okay. So with that we will conclude our session, and very soon we'll come to another chapter, and we'll learn more about what is the next chapter.
The making of independent India's constitution.
Okay, yeah. And just by listening to your new topic, one point came into my mind, that when they were making India's constitution, Indian government, Congress party, included the members from princely states, people also, representative, so that because they were also to be joined by Indian government, like India's state. There was a movement in those small states, including Hyderabad. What was that? Praja Mandal movement, right? So that was an era when democracy thought was inspiring others, and people were not ready to have any more kings and queens, right? So before making our constitution, what they did, Congress party and all, they created a constituent assembly called CA. Right? In that CA, different kinds of people were there, and they included people from the princely states also, so that they can represent their people and come out with some suggestions about what constitution we should have. So no questions, I guess. With that, we'll conclude our session. Thank you.